This is the High School Football America podcast for March the 1st, 2024. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding reliability. It has faster speed than Huddle Sideline. Plus, GameStrat has awesome customer service. They're there when you need them the most. A lot of coaches have made the switch specifically because their customer service is so good and the product is outstanding, so you really don't even need customer service that much. And they have different priced plans for every coach's budget. And if you mention High School Football America when you talk to the fine folks at GameStrat, well, you'll get a High School Football America friends and family discount. Just say, hey, we're big friends, High School Football America and me. Give me my discount. To get a demo, go to GameStrat.com, or you can click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. All right, championship chat, the tour across America. We were in, where were we yesterday? I can't even remember. We were in Colorado yesterday. Today we're in Maryland, just south of the home state of Pennsylvania. Good Counsel, man, what a year for the Falcons last year. They finished number 14 in the High School Football America 300, powered by NFL Play Football. That on the heels of a Washington Catholic Athletic Conference Championship regular season and the postseason championship, unless you've been living under a rock, the WCAC, pretty darn good high school football conference. And Andy Stefanelli, the head coach of Good Counsel, is on the line to talk about a fantastic year. And I bet you're busting at the seams there to get at 24, but we're going to talk 23 first. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jeff, great to be here. I appreciate you calling.
What a fantastic year for you guys last year. It's been, let's see, I guess at this point you're probably, about 3 months through it? About 3 months past that. As you look back on it, what brings a smile to your face?
Currently, every time I see one of our seniors, they still have that smirk or smile. It's not the glowing smile after the championship, but there's just a peacefulness with them that they know they did it, and we did it. We got it done for them, and that was it's really special. And we still have the rest of the school year with the seniors, and ordering rings and that type of stuff. So it's funny. It's 3 months later, as you mentioned, but it still kind of carries forward. And I did tell our seniors, during the season, as you're going through the grind of it, like, hey man, you lose this thing, you don't get it done, and the rest of the school year is just long, and you're miserable because you don't want to really be there anymore. You've seen the rights and all that, but if you win this thing, it's like a parade for the next 6 months. You just get to ride this thing out, and that's what they're living right now. Yeah,
it's good to get the kids back into the weight room too. Tell them they got to get out of the shoes they were in last year and fit their own shoes for 2024. Hey, Coach, you started on national television against a great St. Edward team, now a 3-time Ohio State champ. You rebounded after that loss. You played an excellent Jones team out of Orlando, Florida. You picked up a big win there, and then of course you had your conference and some good games outside of the conference as well. Where was the turning point? Was it that opening, season opening loss? Where did you feel things turned around for the better?
Yeah, I think that game, it's crazy, even though it was a loss, it did what you needed it to do. Not what we wanted to do, but what we needed. And in that, part of the mindset of playing a team like St. Ed's or a lot of the great teams we play in conference and out of conference, but in those out of conference games, the mindset for us is we want to play the best teams, and we know we may lose, but we're going to find out what weaknesses we have. And I'd rather find out a weakness or weaknesses that we have, in August than in October. Mm-hmm. So that's really the mindset, and what happened in that game. While we were doing okay and tied at half, we made some critical errors and some really bad plays in the second half, and you can't do that against a good team. And they made us pay for it, and like we knew they would. I've talked about a lot afterwards since then. If you do that against a mediocre team, we might have been good enough to get away with it and still win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we think we're fine, and we're not. So yeah, that game, I think we had a coaching staff change afterwards, and a few, offensive coordinator left, and it actually rallied the kids. It got everybody focused, and we came out against, like you said, a very, very good Jones team, and played about as good as we could play coming off that loss. So yeah, it served a purpose for sure.
Andy Stefanelli on the line on the High School Football America podcast. Championship chat. We're doing it all during the off season, talking to all the coaches that won championships last year. Coach, I've asked this question in many different ways, but I don't think I've asked it as directly as I'm going to ask you. And you guys are road warriors, right? You're not afraid to travel. I remember seeing you guys down here against Marietta in Georgia a couple of years back. We won't talk about that game because it was a bad job by the referees. You didn't say that. I said that. And you've taken trips elsewhere. You've gone out west to California, St. Ed's last year. What's the most difficult part about that? Because, a lot of times, people are like, yeah, we love these out-of-state games, interstate games, whatever you want to call them, but they don't think about these are teenage kids. On the road, sometimes the first time ever that they're going away from home. What do you find the most difficult thing playing a schedule, especially away from home, in another state?
Well, for the first part that is the most difficult for us is internally just getting the approval to do it, because there's a lot involved. And for us, it's the academic side. So trying to get the date when it's, works with the school schedule, because those games, are not easy to coordinate to begin with, and then you have to factor that in. So first, it's getting the administration to tell you, okay, here's the dates you can go, and then finding that opponent in that that fits that. So that part is hard. And as far as the actual deal, it's what you said. We do travel every year, so fortunately, by the time we get, they're a senior, they may have been maybe their third go-round or even more, getting on the airplane or getting on that bus and then making those trips. But it's always different, and it throws them off their schedule, and they still have to keep up with their schoolwork. And so, we have a system down of how we travel and what we do, which I think helps. But, you don't know how they're going to react. And even against St. Ed's, we had it pretty well down, and then we got a little bit of a late start out and a long bus ride, and ended up arriving at 2 a.m. instead of midnight, which doesn't seem like a lot, but kids go to bed at 3 instead of at 12:30, but it's a difference. And I thought that kind of it didn't help, and not certainly why we lost, but it didn't help. And so as much as you plan and do, we went out to Ohio the year before, and the bus broke down, so it's late. So you can't really you try to factor everything in, but and you don't have team travel agents or people that it's me and usually my wife pretty much figuring it all out and getting it all set up. So those are the things people don't see. You get out for game day, everything looks smooth, and don't realize how much, and they're coordinating the food and sort of they're hydrating and all that little stuff. We have a team of trainers and managers and strength staff that help us, of course, with that. But it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
Come back to that, and you're wiped out. And then usually for us, we have to start out to play somebody really, really good the following week. It's not like we get a couple powder puffs afterwards.
Yeah, no cupcakes on the Good Counsel schedule, that's for sure. The reigning Washington Catholic Athletic Conference champs, number 14 in the nation last year in our algorithm rankings. And let's get some of the kids in by name. As I always tell coaches, I'd love to allow you to go from 1 to whatever your highest number is, 99 or whatever, and get them all in there. But we can't do that. So let's try and narrow it down to captains, the leaders, guys that made that championship last year.
Yeah, our quarterback, Frankie Weaver, probably doesn't get as much credit as he should, but he had a great year. He really led the offense, dynamic passer, kind of a classic passer, pocket quarterback. made big throws for us throughout the year, great decisions. So yeah, Frankie was great. Dylan Jones, our incredible running back, the greatest running back probably in our school's history. We've had some good ones. And going to Wisconsin, he was great. He got banged up towards the end of the year and, just played through it and didn't complain. And he was probably, says he was 80%, he was probably 50% and played through it, had a couple of big surgery after the season to fix up his foot. But Elijah Moore, our wide receiver, going to Florida State, had a great year, but he hurt his knee first conference game and missed the second half of the season and the playoffs, but provided leadership for us all along the way. And Kyle Altoona, our All-American tackle, was just dominant on the offensive line. So those seniors, on offense were led the way, and then on defense, Aaron Childs, our All-American linebacker, and C.J. Kuba Taylor, who nobody really knew about, but he's heading to Clemson now because of a great senior year. Those two really anchored the defense. And Judah Jenkins was our lockdown corner. We have our junior, Fahim Delane, at safety, who was, just all over the field for us. And then up front, Darian Mayo, our 6'6" end, was as good as we've had, and we've had some really good ones there. DJ Briscoe in the middle, kind of anchoring things. So, again, all of them were great, but those seniors and Fahim as a junior, were really good. And also got to mention Demarion Folks, our junior wide receiver, who really stepped up when Elijah went down at the wide receiver, kind of kept that offense clicking and the pass game clicking. So, it was just a great group. And, unfortunately, I talk about it. The first thing I'm thinking is, man, I'm going to miss these guys. But,
brings a little tear to your eye.
Great group.
And you mentioned earlier, you said you had a change in the coaching staff. Let's also not forget that you're doing the interview. You're always the one that gets all the accolades. And as I have said on all these interviews so far in Championship Chat, you also get all the crap with the HC title. Let's get some of the assistant coaches in there that do that grunt work to let the CEO do these interviews.
Well, first and foremost, my assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Sal Gorgoni, he's the best. I know you probably talked to Coach, I got the best. He is one of the best defensive minds I've ever been around, and I've been around a lot. And he's great, runs a phenomenal defense. And really, for me, I let him handle that. So he takes control of that and lets me concentrate on the team and the offense, and I help a little bit with special teams, but it really does a lot for me there. And then J.D. Knoll, also our secondary coordinator and our recruiting coordinator, does a ton over there on the defense with the game planning as well. Ned Annell is our special teams coordinator and kicking coach, and special teams are critical, and he does a great job there. So that's kind of a couple of the guys. And then we also have on offense, got great offensive staff with offensive line coaches. Got a couple of them, and Brett Valenta and Matt Stein and Doug Brzezinski. We have 3 line coaches. And, the running back coach, our running back coach, Eric Alley's been with me forever. And that's why you see we always have very, very good production at the running back position. On defense up front, we have Rico Brown and Drew Gloucester. Kevin McFadden, our longtime D-line coach, had some health issues, so was kind of relegated to helping just with recruiting this year. But Drew stepped in and did a great job. And Anthony Gorgone, Sal's son, came in to help linebacker. So we have a large staff, as you can hear, and but they do a great job. Terrell Campbell came in and was new at wide receivers and was great as well. So it's just a really, really great group. And as you just mentioned, it allows me to do what I do and the freedom to do interviews like this and kind of try to keep the whole thing moving forward all the time.
No doubt about that. I got a smile on my face when you said you got 3 O-line coaches there. If no one's ever seen Good Counsel play, they've got an impressive offensive line. No matter what the year, Coach, every time I watch film, I'm like, that looks like a college offensive line. That must be why you have all the coaches to keep those guys straight and doing the job and running the football for you. But
anyway. I have a former lineman myself, so
there you go. I didn't know that.
I must say the 3 O-line coaches are outdone by my secondary, which I mentioned Coach Knoll, but I need to mention Josh Pleasant, Clay Golston, and James Fangmeyer. So we actually have 4 defensive back coaches to outdo our 3 offensive line coaches. So
gotcha. Okay.
We be a little coach heavy at times, but as we tell the parents, if you come to school here and play football, your kid's going to get coached now. There's no question. I don't care if he's third string or it doesn't matter. We got plenty of coaches to coach him.
Going to coach him up. That sounds great. Hey, the cherry on the Sunday, Coach, last year, aside from the championship, and you beat arch rival DeMatha, that was a second win in the season against that arch rival. That make it a little bit sweeter?
It's very, very difficult to do. And honestly, I think the other turning point in our season was our first game against DeMatha, where we pulled out an overtime win against them, and had to come back to do it. And that's, incredibly difficult to beat them once and then to have to turn around. And that was like that's the thing. You beat them in a game that could have gone either way, an overtime game, but then the reward is you got to turn around a few weeks later and try to do it again. And it's very, very hard to do. We know each other so well, and their only loss last season was to us.
Right.
So they were a very, very good team. And both games, could have gone either way. So we were fortunate enough to get it done, and it's a great rivalry because we've a long time and played a lot of championships with each other, but there's a lot of mutual respect between the programs, and I think that's what I enjoy the most. We get after it, but a lot of the kids are friends. The schools aren't that far apart, and we certainly have a good relationship with their staff. So it's really cool rivalry.
Yeah, it reminds me of the West Coast rivalry between Bosco and Mater Dei, always twice in a season, kind of Bergen and Don Bosco back in the day, that sort of rivalry. It's a good one to watch. Andy Stefanelli on the line for Championship Chat. We're going to wrap things up here with a couple of questions. Hey, you know what? Here's one before we get into 2024. I noticed yesterday Chris Jenkins was your alum, was at the Combine. What was that like? Proud Papa there watching him work out? Did you get to watch him work out, I guess is the question? And do you use that for motivation for your kids to say, hey, you see that guy there? He was once one of you.
Yeah, you mentioned Chris. You broke up for a second. That was Chris Jenkins, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I keep in touch with Chris. I kept in touch with him throughout the season and their run to the national championship. And, it's you know him when he was in 7th grade, and you see him now, and he hadn't really. He's a lot bigger, but he hadn't changed that much. He's a big goofball sometimes, but he's a great kid or a great young man now, and you watch him, you're like, man, it makes you feel so great for what he's accomplishing and what's ahead of him. And we actually have another guy, Cam Hart, who should get drafted as well, and I do use this motivation, Jeff. I do talk because, you start getting his NFL teams sending the inquiries and the references back to me when they're doing their background work. And so I use that as much as motivation as anything when I tell our players, because I'll pull out the letterhead, which they recognize right away from whatever NFL team it is.
Yeah.
I was like, and I tell them, I read off some of the questions, and then I asked them, you notice what they don't ask about? And they're like, football? Yeah. They don't ask about football. It's all characters. Do the right things, listen to what we tell you to do. So it does help motivate them, I think.
Yeah, big lesson in there for anybody listening. If you're a student out there, a student athlete, listen to what Coach just said there. They didn't talk about football. Character came first. As we wrap up, let's face forward to 24. What are some of the things you're trying to accomplish in the weight room here in the off season, going into your summer workouts, into your fall workouts? What are some of the things that you feel this team needs to do to have a chance to defend that championship?
We like the group we have coming back. We obviously have some big holes to fill with all those talented seniors, not only with their play on the field, but with their leadership. So, the group's been very, very focused back in the weight room. So really, I don't think, we're not going to be considered as talented, certainly, and not as many guys with as many offers and all that type of stuff. But I think this team has a chance to be really, really good. There's a real good chemistry amongst them and a work ethic. And they're very motivated because some of these guys were sophomores on the team last year and, contributed some, but weren't in the spotlight. And now they're chomping at the bit to take their shot at it. So, there's going to be a lot of work. Coaching staff knows what we have in front of us. Obviously, when you graduate a 3-year starter at quarterback, whoever wins the job is going to be, a first-time starter. So that comes with some challenges. But, it also gets you excited because, it's a new challenge for the staff. So we're really looking forward to the season. And, it's going to be a different off-season than last year for sure, with a lot more coaching and development, I think. But we're up for the challenge, and I think the kids are really, really focused on it. So, hopefully we can make a little noise next season.
Well, you got enough coaches, it sounds like, to coach those kids up here in the offseason. Hey, last thing, I know before we rolled the tape here, you said, like a lot of the other good teams out there, you got a hole in the schedule, you're looking. So, let the people, coaches, if they're listening out there right now, know what you're looking for. And then if you do have, outside of the conference, a couple of your out-of-state games, locked down where you feel like you can tell us, feel free. If not, I understand. But talk about the hole you have right now you're trying to fill.
Yeah, I'm trying to fill. Well, actually, the date is either 9/13 or 9/20. We have a little bit of flexibility in the one date. 9/13 would probably be optimal, but we need a home game. So anybody looking to come to DC and do some sightseeing with your team and play a game, we'd love to host. The teams, we're opening down in the Miami against Christopher Columbus.
Ooh, nice one. That's a nice
very,
one.
Very good team there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Week 2 is we're going up to New Jersey to play the Paul Catholic, who also very strong traditional team there.
That's the strongest 6-4 team in the country. I just had this conversation the other day. They don't dodge anybody, and that's why they're playing you. DePaul's a great program.
Yeah, they're really good. We played them back in 2015, and they were really good that year. And anyway, head coach there, Nick Campanella, is a really good guy. And we were actually at the Under Armour All-American game coaching together and kind of hit it off and worked out a game. So that was pretty cool. So looking forward to that. Then that next game is going to be St. Joe's Prep out of Philly, and that's the one we're trying to figure out the date on. We may play them on 9/20, and which gives us 9/13. But trying to make that move so to help them out a little bit and bump the date. But so yeah, that's our three out of conference games, and as you know, Jeff, not going to be easy. That's for sure. So,
yeah. Way to dodge people.
Very, very good team.
Way to dodge people. Well, the good news is in our algorithm, strength of schedule, you know how big that is, so that's a good thing. Coach, appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. Look forward to seeing how the Falcons wind things up and get things started in 2024, and I'm sure you're going to be somewhere in these national rankings that we have, but congratulations on the championship and best of luck in 24. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate everything you do.
All right, 20 days left to get your student athletes nominated for the 4th annual High School Football America All academic team. Yes, 3.7 GPA is what you need, or higher, or 96 or higher on a scale of 100. All you have to do is go to highschoolfootballamerica.com and click in the navigation tab on Academic All-America, and then you'll get a little form that drops down, and coaches, you can nominate your students right there. You can also email us at aaa@highschoolfootballamerica.com. Now, something new this year is we are allowing parents and their children to nominate. So, parents, if you want to nominate, it's cool. Just go to the same spot on the website, but you do have to let us know that you're a parent, and we will ask you for transcripts. And if you're a student athlete, and you want to nominate yourself, we're cool with that. Just make sure that you send us your transcripts. What's even easier is if you go to ScoutSmart, who powers the Academic All-America team, and fill out your free profile there. That will make it very, very easy for you. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system, and by NFL Play Football. Coaches, go to playfootball.nfl.com to get some of the great resources that are there to help you improve in the coaching profession. That's today's High School Football America podcast. I'm Jeff Fisher.